Hey guys, for today's episode of Internet Charcha, we have a personality who is an Instagram influencer, even though she doesn't like being called one, a YouTube content creator, an actor with having more than 4 international feature films under her belt, and an MC. She is Miss Freishia B.
So, good afternoon, Ms. Freishia. Thank you so much for being a part of our interview series called Internet Charcha.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. So, Ms. Freishia, we wanted to ask you the first question, which was, how were you as a student?
Um, okay, so I was very, very different as a student, and I actually think that I have grown and evolved and truly changed as a person through the years. And there has been quite a big change in me. So, with regards to my studies, I wasn't a very bright student. I was probably like 50, 60% student in all my grades. I always did really well in drama though.
Wow.
And I was always like in the school play and always in those areas of communication. I was
Great.
always excelling in that, whether it
So, what
was
were the different
drama.
literary activities you participated in when you were in school?
Correct. So there would be the school play, the annual play that we would do every year. Then there would be poetry competitions that I would take part in every single year. We also had storytelling till a certain age group, I think, and then after that we kind of moved from that. And then in college, of course, there was debates and all the intercollegiate competitions as well. And I was not a curious person. I was not someone that wanted to know everything about the world.
But since you're saying that when you were in school, you participated in so many literary activities, performing arts as well. So, were you always what you call an extrovert by nature? Did this confidence to be able to speak in front of an audience come naturally to you? Or did you face your own fears when you were in school?
No, what happened was that I did my first play when I was almost 4 or 5 years old.
Wow.
And I started doing theater at a very young age. And these were just like school plays. And by the time I was almost 6 or 7, I was doing professional theater. There was
Wow.
a play that ran in Bombay, which was for children, which was called As Snowdonia Land.
Okay.
And that play ran every summer for, I think I did almost 3 summers with that play. And the role demanded me to be a small, like to be a child.
Correct.
And yeah, and so because of that, I think I just got used to the stage. I got used, it felt very natural for me to come on stage in front of hundreds of people and just talk to them. It was something that I was just doing as a child.
Wow. So, since you've worked in so many different fields related to performing arts, the first one which you want to discuss about is your movie career. So, you've worked in 4 international feature films, and
Yeah,
in one of them, you worked with an Academy Award winner, Miss F. Maria Abraham, in Blood Monkey.
yeah.
How was that experience? How did that happen, first of all? Someone from Mumbai working in a US-based movie with an Academy Award winner. How did that happen?
So I did, because I was acting from such a young age, it kind of just felt like it should be something that I would just continue doing, right? Because it felt like it was the only thing I knew at that point. And when I graduated from college, my dad was like, "So what are you going to do?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm just going to continue acting." And he was like, "Oh, I thought it was a hobby." And I was like, that would have been like a hobby that was going on for really long, Dad. And I got a job. I got a job at a radio station because I wasn't really getting that much acting work to also keep me going. And then suddenly I got a call for this audition, and I had to audition on Skype because, of course, the whole team was sitting in New York. They were looking for a girl, an Indian girl, to play this particular role. And they felt like all the girls in New York had American accents, and the girl needed to be Indian with an Indian accent. And I did the audition, and then I flew down to New York for 2 days.
Did you know whom you were working with in the movie? Who were the other actors?
No, I was told it would be an absolutely new cast. And then later I found out. When I found out, I didn't really know who he was, and I had to Google him back then. And working with him, so I didn't have so many scenes with him. He's in the film. I had very limited scenes with him, but we all spend a lot of time together because on set, that is something that automatically happens. And you do realize that a lot of these people, they're just so well defined and they're such amazing rounded personalities. And when you talk to them, it's truly amazing because you'll always learn something.
So how is it different acting in front of a camera compared to theater, where you're acting in front of live audience? What are the different challenges you face in each of them?
Um, Definitely the way that you are emoting. Because if I'm on stage and I have like hundreds of people in front of me, if I keep everything too inside and I keep everything too subtle, like really subtle, people aren't going to pick up on it too well. But what I did realize is that on camera, you have to keep it really subtle because the camera picks up everything, right? That slightest eye movement, the shift of a gaze, just looking into somebody's eyes, everything means so much. And sometimes on stage, you may not be able to pick up such subtle signs and such subtle movements. So that was one thing that I realized. But you also quickly realize that acting is acting and
Okay.
that the medium doesn't really matter.
Wow. So since you spoke about being an MC right now being an MC requires you to think on your feet all the time. There are so many things that can go wrong possibly in an event. And I'm sure every event you've been a part of, there must have been 100 things might have gone wrong and you had to come up with something witty on the
Oh my
spot.
God,
So
and how?
have you ever yourself had any moment where you had an embarrassing moment or you went blank in front of an audience while you were doing an MC? And how did you circumvent the entire event? I would love the kids watching this interview know about that. How they can circumvent an event when they go blank on stage. Because this happens with a lot of kids. They start speaking on
Yeah,
stage, whether it's an elocution or something, they just go blank suddenly. So how do you deal with
correct,
that if that happens ever?
correct. So I've never gone blank, but I've had mistakes, and mistakes can also make you freeze, right?
Of
Because
course.
sometimes you just go blank because you're overwhelmed and the anxiety completely takes over, and you've just pumped in so much blood into your brain that it's a scientific thing. What basically happens to your body at that point, it's a biological thing that is taking place. But what I have experienced is where something's gone terribly wrong, or maybe even I've personally made a mistake. It's not an external mistake that's happened. And the only thing that can help at that point is to quickly come out of it. Don't go on about it. So don't, like, let's say you have made that mistake, or let's say you have gone blank. As soon as you come out of it, don't be like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Right now, I just went completely blank and I've never had that happen to me. Don't do that. Don't acknowledge it. Just move on and keep the show going and keep that momentum going, because then you're like reminding people. And later on also, don't be like, oh, thank you all so much for listening to me, and that moment where I went blank, don't acknowledge it. And because everyone's forgotten about it as well, at some point. So yeah, I think that would be some kind of advice that I could give.
Great. So moving on to your YouTube channel, Vax, you are a content creator there. But before I ask you questions about that, I want to ask you this one question, that your page says that you are a content creator and not an influencer. So don't you think as a public figure, everything that you do is kind of influencing your subscribers and your audience?
The thing is, I'm not out here to influence anyone.
Okay.
And the reason I changed this one day and I got like really irritated is because the word influencer has also now so many different meanings, right? And I felt like it had more negative connotations attached to it than anything very positive. And so I thought that it's better that I say I'm not an influencer, I'm a content creator. And then if you like my content and you want to be influenced by it, that's up to you. But I'm not here to influence anyone. I don't know if it makes sense.
Since your channel kind of touches upon a plethora of different things, from how to do's to history, politics, etc., etc. So, what was the entire idea behind starting this channel for you?
So the idea behind the whole thing, the initial idea was not mine. Okay. It was somebody else's. And he was like, it would be really cool if you started this channel where you educate people. And this was like a conversation that we were having. And he was like, you just put ideas together and you put concepts together. And the idea was that, how do I become the most interesting person in the room? How am I that person that's giving you something where everyone else in the room would be like, hey, that's pretty cool. I never knew about that. And then you can say that you got whacked.
If you were to suggest people different locations, what would those be? First, for kids, just to have fun, what's the best place which you have visited, which is the most kid-friendly place?
The thing is that most places in the world are very child-friendly. And there is a lot to do. It just depends on what it is that you're looking out for. So close by in Asia, I definitely think that Singapore is a lot of fun. And they have like a Universal Studio over there. They have the beachside over there. And so you get like this mix of a lot of stuff that you can do.
Correct.
And otherwise, culturally, I think also Greece would be amazing, because the islands over there have so much history. And if you really like take a trail and then you say like, okay, I'm going to go on this kind of trail, there would be a lot historically also that you can discover.
Great. Which is the most beautiful place according to you which you visited till date?
Oh, most beautiful.
Nature-wise, I don't want.
Nature-wise, no, I know what you mean. So nature-wise, again, that depends on if you're a beach person and you love the water, or if you're a mountain person. And definitely, for me, Ladakh is still one of my top favorites. I have been there twice already in life, and I have spent 20 days scaling from Ladakh to Manali by foot and doing an entire trek. And it was one of the most life-altering experiences that I ever had. And the mountains in South America also, I trekked to Machu Picchu, and that was absolutely fantastic. And if you're a beach person, then I would definitely recommend going to the Andamans. I just recently went there for work. I shot a new show with Good Times, which I don't know when it's going to come out now because of this whole lockdown. And I was amazed at the pristine water that I got to see over there, because I have been to Seychelles and I have been to the Maldives and I've seen the water over there. And this was pretty good as well.
This video. Now, in this segment, I'm going to ask you a few of your first experiences. So, yeah, you can, whichever ones you remember, please do try to answer them in the best way possible. So the first school or college play, do you remember which was your first play?
So I don't remember the name, but I know that I was a little baker, and I had like this baker costume, and I had to go with hot cross buns. Wow. And I had to go on stage and do something, and then all the other kids come and they buy the buns from me.
Do you remember your first experience in front of camera?
I have the funniest photograph, and so I don't have this memory, but it's there for my whole family, for posterity to laugh at. But I was maybe 2 or 3 days old, and it's a photograph of my sister holding me, and she's got this really funny expression, and she's like that, because you can see a line of pee coming off from me. And as this photograph was being taken, I decided to take my first pee on my sister.
Who was your first celebrity crush?
Amir Khan. So Amir Khan used to live right next to my school. Okay, and he, what was that
So which
movie
school
of
were
his?
you in?
I was in a all-girls school called Ava by
By Petty in Bandra, correct.
in Canada. Yeah. And his movie had just come out, and my friend had taken all of us to go watch the film. And after we came out of the theater, we found out that he lived right next to our school. And in the lunch break, we used to all go and yell, Ahmed, Ahmed, Ahmed. And finally one day he came out and he said
Wow.
hi to us. Yeah, yeah.
So professionally, which was your first experience in front of camera?
Now this is really crazy. Snowdonia Land, the play that I was telling you about, became a film.
Oh.
Yeah.
And you acted in that the same role?
I acted, yeah. Everyone who was in the cast, we
Okay.
were all in the film. And yeah, so that was my first moment on camera professionally as a child. It happened as a child.
Great. Thank you so much for being such a great sport, Freishia. Before we conclude this interview, one last message which you would like to give to all the students to stay positive during this time of lockdown.
You know, it's so easy for all of us to, at many points in our lives, and this is something that I've been very, very guilty of as a child as well, to think that why is this happening to me? ये सब मेरे साथ ही होता है. And please understand that right now, what is happening around the world. If you are right now sitting at home on a computer or on your phone watching this interview, you are part of a very, very safe and privileged few. You're blessed, the fact that you're sitting and watching this right now. So hang in there. You have nothing to feel bad about. You're in the most healthy and in the most safe place that you can be compared to other people. And everything that you are experiencing, this is a once in a lifetime experience where the whole world is experiencing this exact same thing with you. I talk to family in America, I talk to family in Australia, I talk to my family in South Africa, and we all are experiencing the same thing. So hang in there, it's not so bad.
So that's it for this video. If you liked it, please like, share, comment and subscribe to our channel. We're going to bring in a lot many more celebrities in our video series Internet Charcha. So please click on that bell icon.